Chapter 615, Grayish-White Fog. While Miss Justice was doing the greetings, the hermit Catlia maintained her silence as she observed as she did before. She didn't involve herself in matters, as though she was an outsider at this gathering. She watched as Miss Justice and Miss Magician conjured their Roselle diary pages to pay off their previous debts. Then, she carefully glanced at Mr. Fool without daring to look straight at him. Yet, she still wasn't able to see further through the special gray fog. Her dark purple eyes were only capable of seeing clothes that were definitely conjured. With the 3 pages of Roselle's diary, Klein wasn't in a rush to read it like before. After all, he had already interacted and used a Grade 0 sealed artifact and knew what a uniqueness of a Beyonder pathway looked like. He had even intimidated such a divine artifact, so he believed that regardless of Emperor Roselle's content, there was nothing that could shock him greatly. Unless he was given a demoness blessing by some powerhouse with a unique ability and temporarily became a woman. Klein joked inwardly as he surveyed the long bronze table in interest. Ma'am Hermit's curiosity is different from Miss Justice and Company. She pays great attention to the matter of Roselle's diary. Klein retracted his gaze and took note of this discovery. Then, he casually read the yellowish-brown goatskin. 22nd April. We plan on entering to explore the abyss. 23rd April. We followed the pitch-black ocean, passed through the liquid-like fog, and arrived at the mountain peak that resembled a monster. Behind it was endless black fog. It seemed to blanket an entire continent. However, looking at the bottom of the peak makes it seem endless and without limit. I had joked with Edwards that if I were to commit suicide by jumping off that cliff, I might never fall to the ground, forever in a state of falling. Upon seeing this, Klein nearly pricked up his brows. He couldn't believe that Roselle would dare to organize his own knights and sailors to explore the periphery of the region after seeing the abyss. Isn't he afraid of dying? Legend has it that it's a place that can corrupt everything, causing all life to perish. At this stage, Roselle definitely hadn't reached Sequence 4, and he wasn't a demigod. He was at best a Sequence 5 or even lower. If it were me, I definitely would have turned the boat around and reported it to the church. In that instant, Klein gained a deep understanding of the huge difference between him and Roselle. In addition, Roselle's description of the abyss's periphery had reminded Klein of the mysterious stone doors of Ammon's mausoleum. A similar scene had appeared after the Church of Steam and Machinery's Archbishop Hiramic's puppet made contact with it. I wonder what Roselle discovered there. At the very least, he didn't die from his exploration. He still had an exciting life after that. Klein moved his gaze down and read the remaining content on the diary page. 24th April. We proceeded down the peak in an attempt to probe deeper. The thick black fog is biting cold, as though it can erode flesh and the soul. Luckily, the Dark King I'm on board has certain items that resist this corruption, or I'll suspect that me and my Knights of the Apocalypse will become members of Farron's Undead Legion. It's very quiet, and we didn't discover anything. 25th April. We saw devils, but they were in the form of rotting corpses. Behind the black, jagged mountain, below a slush-filled opening that one cannot call a path, there were different devil corpses that were either in normal or unimaginable places. It was as though they had all been killed at the same moment. 26th April. Either corpses or silence, there's no end up ahead. The items on the Dark King has begun to show signs of corruption. I've seldom had fear over the past few years, but here, that fear of the unknown is like an invisible hand that clasps my heart tightly. I have to leave, I have to return, I can't stay here any longer. What happened after this? Emperor Roselle was very successful in escaping the abyss's periphery, or did he encounter something else? What does the abnormality over there symbolize? An intense battle. Klein subconsciously had some sense of anticipation as he flipped to the second page, only to be let down that it wasn't connected. 8th May, my beloved Bernadette is almost 2. The older she grows, the more likable she is. She's indeed a young lady who doesn't let down the excellent genes of her mother and I. Hearing her clearly call me Daddy and seeing her bubbly figure, I suddenly felt a sense of satisfaction. Ever since I transmigrated to this world, I've done many things. I can say that some aren't honorable, but I've not felt any shame about it, nor have I ever regretted it. On the one hand, this has to do with me finding it very difficult to curb my desires, making it easy for me to be influenced by my environment. Heh heh, I have to thank fate that I've not met a desire apostle from the devil pathway. According to the records, I would definitely succumb to beyonders of this sequence. I might even be instantly killed. On the other hand, I still have a sense of alienation from this world. My parents in this world are very nice to me. I've also worked hard to make them proud, but I know that my feelings for them aren't substantial. Similarly, this is how I treat Matilda. It's more a possessive instinct rather than love. I have to admit that my mental state is like playing a role-playing game in virtual reality. My parents, brothers, and friends are all non-playable characters. I can devote some of my feelings to them, but never anything serious. Therefore, I can join all kinds of corrupted gatherings without any sense of guilt. I can face people I know well in a cold, ruthless manner. It's just like when I played the Elder Scrolls. I could slaughter an entire village just for a chicken. But after Bernadette was born, I realized that I had an additional sense of belonging to this world. I was no longer as estranged from it. This is my child, a living child of mine. Perhaps this is what so-called maturity is. Without children, it's impossible to realize this feeling. No, I don't even have a girlfriend. However, I have to be alert about this state of mind that's mentioned in this entry. It might not exist in the past, but it doesn't mean it wouldn't appear in the future. The higher the sequence, the greater one's godhood is than their humanity. Klein sighed silently as he flipped to the third diary page. 6 January, a brand new year, a brand new beginning. After advancing to artisan, I finally have the powers to do that thing. That is to create the mysterious silver plate in my memories. There is a high chance that my transmigration was a result of it. In fact, after I became a savant, I could already recall its appearance, as well as the strange symbols and patterns on its surface. But the past me could clearly sense that I wasn't able to replicate something like that. 9th January, I finally succeeded after repeated failures. Holding the silver plate filled with special symbols and patterns, I tried hard to inject my spirituality in a bid to activate it. An endless grayish-white fog seemed to surface before my eyes, but nothing happened. Is it a problem with the material, or am I lacking certain requisites? 10th January. According to my recollections of my transmigration experience, I restored my past state, believing that I no longer lacked anything. However, the mysterious silver plate only showed me the strange gray fog. It wasn't able to help me do anything. Since this doesn't work, how did I succeed in my transmigration back then? I temporarily gave up on my attempts, and I destroyed the silver plate I created. Perhaps when I'm a high-sequence beyonder and become a demigod, I will have a way to interpret those patterns and symbols to figure out the truth behind my transmigration. Yes, I'll definitely become a demigod. I'm the protagonist of this era. Grayish-white fog. The Emperor saw an endless grayish-white fog after replicating the mysterious silver plate from Earth. Klein's eyes suddenly shrank when he read the diary entry. There happened to be an immutable endless gray fog beneath his feet. Could it be that our transmigrations have to do with this mysterious space? But why is the Emperor unable to enter, but I can? According to the Emperor's diary entries of the last few stages of his life, he definitely didn't crack the mystery of the silver plate. Otherwise, he wouldn't have not thought of this place when he was in his moment of great despair and mania. He wouldn't have not used this place as his crutch. Klein raised his head as his gaze landed outside the ancient palace. He recalled that deep in this mysterious space, there was a staircase of light that seemed to lead to heaven. It seemed to correspond to his sequence. The staircase appeared to be built for giants, and its destination was the gray fog, which seemed to support something that stood in midair. The secret of our transmigration lies there. Klein made the diary pages in his hand vanish before he leaned back into his chair and said with a normal tone, "You may begin." Derek originally wished to bring forward his request to purchase the Sequence 6 potion formula after Solar High Priest, but Elder Luvia's release made him temporarily abandon his plans. He couldn't wait to mention everything that had happened, wishing to obtain the necessary guidance. Considering how this was still the transaction segment, He held back his desire as he waited in silence. There's something on little son's mind. Something unexpected happened in the city of Silver. Audrey thoughtfully retracted her gaze and similarly didn't request to purchase anything. At this moment, Alger surveyed the area and voiced out, "I need the potion formula of Ocean Songster." Indeed, he's already a sequence 6, a wind blessed. Isn't he someone from the Church of Storms? Why is he looking for the Ocean Songster's potion formula elsewhere? Obtaining it internally from the church is a lot easier. He has secrets he wishes to keep from the Church of Storms, or was he just pretending to be someone from the Church of Storms? Catlia instantly had many theories as she gently took note. "I can help you take note." Upon noticing the hermit's response, Alger asked, "Ma'am, is there anything you need?" "I can search for clues ahead of time, so as to trade for the potion formula." Author's note: a meme involving Dark Souls III. Farron's undead legion, also known as the Abyss Watchers, who were corrupted by the Abyss.